All right, you heard it. The Sports Reporters, we have indeed reassembled bright and early on a Saturday morning. Andrew Hammond of the Detroit Free Press with the newspaper merch, I believe, the beanie on as we start off here this morning. Andrew, good morning. How are you?
I am good. It's mostly I'm the type of person who sleeps with the AC on. So when I go into my office in the morning, it is quite cold. So I was just like, oh, yeah, gonna need a beanie on today.
That's how it goes, though. Sleeping with the AC is what you got to do, man. I don't know how people sleep with it warm in the house. I don't know.
I've learned that quite quickly. So like probably for today, because it's a Saturday in the fall, so college football is on. Mm-hmm. So yeah, this might be the look for at least in the early window of games.
There you go. Also, getting ready to head out for the Columbia Lions Ivy League game this weekend. Bob Silverman up there in New York City. Bob, good morning, sir. How are you?
Hello.
Oh, man, Bob's tired. Bob?
Yeah, I am. I'm a little tired. I did not sleep well last night. I have been to a Columbia Lions game, though.
How are they?
He's worried about
the Baker Bowl.
Is that what it's called?
The NL East? Is that?
I say he's worried about the NL East.
NL East. I don't know what you're talking about.
National League East.
There's this division.
You keep saying NL East, and I keep thinking it's like, is that the new Hobbit show? Is that the new Game of Thrones show?
No.
And I'm not sure what you're talking about. So I'm not going to worry about it because I don't understand it.
That's fair. The American way.
We're talking college football here, Andrew. I don't know what. It's the college football minute. You're not invited.
Bob.
It's the Ivy League minute.
Bob, quick question. What are you in terms of college? Since this is the college football minute with Bob Silverman?
Correct.
What are the two games that you're looking at today?
Well, my college football minute, which may be slightly different than your and Chase's usual college football minute, tends to really just it focuses on the Ivy League and the Ivy League only. So I'm thinking Columbia. I want to check out Dartmouth is doing this year. Go Green. Brown Bears doing a lot of exciting things this year up in Providence, Rhode Island. Got to be excited about Brown, and then of course big Yale. Finally, we're going to get to the Harvard-Yale game at some point, so we're excited. I'm excited in advance about that.
Are you overlooking the Dartmouth Big Green who won the conference last year?
He mentioned.
Oh, you led with Dartmouth. Sorry, I didn't hear Dartmouth. Sorry.
Yeah, here's the thing, Chase. He's deflecting on the Mets, complete meltdown, and Jerry Seinfeld, looking all fashionable and then hating
deflecting on the meds. Deflecting on the meds. I don't know. Again,
that sounds unhealthy.
You should get some coffee, Andrew. I think you're a little.
I think you should get some coffee, Bob. I think you should get some coffee, sir. I got kombucha.
Hold on, just to be clear, Bob is not drinking coffee. Yeah. He has some coffee mixed with whatever he puts in his coffee first. It's a lot of other stuff, and then he adds
80% Baileys.
Yes,
20% coffee.
It's not. It's a coffee milkshake, but it's still mainly coffee.
That's what you called it. Yeah, it's like a coffee milkshake.
Papa's got to get his milkshake.
Yeah, that's right. It's a lot of coconut milk and a lot of monk fruit sweetener, but it still does count as coffee. It's not hot coffee season. It won't be hot coffee season until the temperature drops consistently.
It's always hot coffee season, man.
50
always.
Degrees.
Always. We are a hot coffee stand company over here. Well, guys.
Games at the Baker Bowl are...
Yeah.
They're not that exciting. The student body doesn't really care, and they lose all the time. So that's what the college football experience is like for the Columbia Lions.
It's weird that they don't compete in the FCS playoffs. I don't understand that.
I did go to a game while the Garrett family was still was excelling. The Garretts were
as in Jason
Princeton.
Garrett's family?
Yeah.
As in Notre Dame
I forget
on NBC
which Garrett
analyst Jason
I
Garrett.
forget which Garrett. Like he and his two brothers were at least one of them went to an Ivy League school. I think one went to Princeton and then transferred to Columbia or vice versa. I forget which.
I thought Jason went to Princeton too, right? Like that was the whole thing. Was just that like like when people be like, "Oh, this offense is not it's unimaginative." It's like unimaginative. The guy went to Princeton. Can't get more imaginative than that. It's just the resume. It's like, hey, the background works.
That guy has taken core curriculum classes. He's met with Professor Edward Taylor. He's not to be trifled with.
I cannot believe I'm defending Jason Garrett in the year our Lord 2022.
But you're
but
about
he's
to.
actually not that bad
but
of a game analyst in terms of what he's, because I had to watch the USFL for work purposes. That was the only reason why I watched it. But
who won the title this year? Was it the Michigan Panthers or who won?
Hell no. Jeff Fisher was their coach. I think
so. They went 7-9.
7-9.
Yeah.
But no, Jason Garrett is actually a decent, analyst. Like it's. I mean, yes. Does he have the personality of a wooden plank that you would find at Home Depot? Absolutely. But the man nails his points.
He
does.
Is that a pun?
He looks like a swole Howdy Doody doll. Is what he looks
kind of does. That claps a lot.
Yeah.
The clapper is what people have called him. Well, this podcast is presented by the Atlanta Braves, who have taken back control of what is rightfully theirs, the NL East.
Wow, you got actual MLB sponsorship for this pod, Chase. That's very impressive.
I got clearance. Yeah, I got clearance from the Atlanta Braves. That
can we just show Jerry Seinfeld being what is it about these trumpets?
Goodness gracious. And that's the one thing, Bob, I will give you that I think Braves fans should let go, is if it's between a DH guy in the sixth hole or a closer, the closer gets the music. The closer, it's their music. Closers
that's not Wilson Contreras' music. That's Edwin Diaz's music.
Right, I agree with that.
That's our tweaked out Australian, not yours.
I agree with that. See, look, I'm here for you. Like I'm not only I don't have this strong anti-Mets bias. I'm giving you that.
The Mets are losing not because of any bad juju put on the team by their biggest Australian fan, Timmy Trumpet. It's because Pete Alonso has hit a 1 home run, I think, in the last 100 at bats or something like that. And,
while Aaron Judge rises, Pete Alonso had to fall.
Yeah. They're not hitting. Scherzer's back on the DL. They didn't address the bullpen issues at the trade deadline, which I made a big
Marte's on the IL.
On the Twitter, Marte, has a partially non-displaced fracture of his finger. It seems bad. The rotund, large lad DH Voltron of Vogelback and Darren Ruff also are not hitting more than the pair eats in combined carbohydrates on a given day. So it's like the offense has curled up and died. They scored something, I think, they had a couple of bust out games against the Pirates, but aside from that, they went a stretch where they scored 37 runs in 13 games. It's okay. And
so things might be bad, huh?
They're still going to be the first wild card. The difference is, will they be the first wild card or will they get a bye in the first round? That's the difference here.
I mean, that's a huge difference, man. The bye is huge. You want to avoid this, man. You want to get into the NLDS and
yes, I want to avoid playing the Washington Nationals. The San Diego Padres. Ooh.
Yeah, I don't want the Padres right now.
Ooh, I'm so scared of
those are famous last words, Bob. I don't know if you want that.
Winning the division would be better. They're still gonna, they're still barring. He said famous last words, barring something truly.
It's what a
Metsian and epic. Braves are 1 game up. Braves are 1 game up on them right now.
I was going to say, I know it doesn't. It's not a massive gap, but at the same time, where
been
where we
playing-
were at to where we are now.
They
You're
were
just
10
like,
games up.
oh,
They were
dear
10 games up,
God.
and now they're not. So that's bad.
That's not good, Bob.
It's okay. It's okay. It's a fun year. They're the Mets.
They are indeed
Mets gonna Mets.
the Mets.
Mets gonna
Speaking
Mets.
of
All right.
Mets gonna Mets, though, last week we were off. This week we have to talk about the New York Knicks.
We have to
Sure.
talk about the. We're really gonna just go through all of the stations of the cross of the teams that I like. Right, that's the plan.
That's what we're doing,
Wow.
Bob.
This
Well,
is
hold
a lot
on,
of-
Bob. You
I-
were in the
I
group
am
chat.
I am sensing a lot of anti-Bob bias journalism.
This is
I
not
didn't do
anti-Bob.
anything, Bob. This is all Chase.
And
Yeah,
also,
but-
Bob, you were okay with this. You made the case in the group chat that you are happy that it went this
Not
way
happy.
because other stars will
I'm
come
not-
open. Like, explain,
Yeah.
make the case
Okay,
as to
alright.
why the
I
Knicks
made
not
this-
trading for Mitchell is actually good.
Actually good
Mm-hmm.
because. Well, it's true. They are losing out on the only NBA player whose dad works for the Mets, and that's a real loss to them.
Mhm.
They, assuming that all of the reports are true, and please, basketball fans, try not to read the reports of what could have been offered in the trade a day or two later by various scoopmeisters, because it's. I would say it can be taken with an entire jar of Morton salt. That post-trade period is when your favorite information merchants are doing a solid for their various sources within teams, and so they want to make
Danny Ainge.
they want to make Danny Ainge and or Leon Rose look good for their decision, which is always so odd to me because the decision is the decision, and I don't understand how making them look good in that moment is going to change much of anything. But look, a team that traded away 3 future unprotected firsts, plus 2 pick swaps, plus a couple of seconds, plus either R.J. Barrett or some combination of young players. Let's say it's assumed that R.J. Barrett, after Cleveland made its final offer, had to be in that deal. R.J. Barrett, 3 unprotecteds, 2 pick swaps, for maybe the 25th best guy in the league, who also happens to be an undersized, ball-dominant guard, playing next to the undersized, ball-dominant guard they just spent $100+ million to sign in the same backcourt, with very little actual capital remaining to trade for or acquire anyone else to make that team work. That's, I think that's topping out at a 45-win team. Now, we don't know. Now, will that team would invariably be better than what the Knicks have now, which is Brunson, Barrett, a bunch of kids who I personally dig, and the artist who formerly named Julius Randle, and et cetera, and this reasonably large tranche of picks. Yes, the team with Mitchell is probably going to win more basketball games, but there's almost no path to improving beyond the Mitchell trade if you do that. The path to improving with the picks is equally cloudy, but I would say there are more options open, because my point is that, look, great, the idea of a star who really wanted to play for the Knicks, which by all accounts Mitchell did, that's a bit of a rarity. But I think you are locking yourselves in a very good Eastern Conference now to maybe a team that, best case scenario, makes the second round of the playoffs. And you're locking them into that future for a while.
With Donovan Mitchell as a Knick.
Yeah, with Donovan Mitchell, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson, 1 or 2 of the younger players that they have, the Quentin Grimes, who for some reason everyone thinks is untouchable, no R.J. Barrett, and only 1 first round. I believe they would have 1 unprotected first left until 2030. So that's like the reason the Cavs were able to make that deal is because they had 3 players who were all-stars and one who looks like he could be maybe a top 15 player already on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks didn't have that.
And you have the defense behind him, with just like Mobley and Allen and company, and his Isaac Okoro, and
Mobley, Allen, and Darius Garland.
Yeah, I'm just talking about
That's
defensively, like just having
defensively, they're going to have some problems, but they
No, I think they're actually going to. They're better suited.
Mobley,
the Knicks were going to have
and Allen
significant.
are better suited to make up for whatever deficiencies Donovan Mitchell
Right.
and the smallish Mitchell Garland backcourt makes up for gives them. And by the way, just go back to like the old scouting reports. The thought before he became a 27-point a game scorer was that Donovan Mitchell was going to be a plus defensive player coming out of Louisville, and that hasn't happened because he's too busy scoring all the points. But that ability exists. I think he could improve with fewer touches, and that's what he'll have in Cleveland. So yes, the Cavs are a better fit for Donovan Mitchell. Do I think 3 unprotected Knick firsts represents a possible bigger haul for the Jazz? Yeah, I kind of do, knowing gestures wildly at the entire history of the Knicks for the last 20 years. So that's why I think, like, okay, this was not a no doubt about it, no brainer. This is the superstar that you empty the vault for. So the fact that they didn't pull off this deal, despite it seeming like it was just a question of when, for 2 months, that's okay. It does. There are some questions about like the future of this particular front office moving forward, because the entire reason this front office was brought in, i.e. Leon Rose and his gang of cohorts, was the sort of the implication that as a former guy running CAA's basketball division, he had the relationships with these kinds of stars and other agents in order to bring a player like Donovan Mitchell aboard. So the question is, well, that didn't happen, so who are you going to get? I am a little comforted by the fact that the Knicks, when Cleveland kept asking for the world, didn't just say, okay, well, fine, we'll throw Timothy Mozgov into this deal again just for fun. That, to me, is generally a good thing. They had a price, and they weren't willing to exceed it. I think their final best offer, according to all the reports, was 2 unprotected firsts, 1 top 5 protected first, 2 pick swaps. They would use a first round, like the protected Milwaukee pick, to get Evan Fournier to a third team, and R.J. Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly. That's a big offer. And if Cleveland preferred Sexton and 3 unprotected firsts, okay. I kind of think they may have. The Ainge was too fixated on the 3 unprotected first round picks part of this, and you can argue whether he's right or not. But if those reports are true, that to me sounds like they made a more than fair offer. There was a radio interview with Knicks confidant William Worldwide West Wesley, in which he said, "They asked for everything. They asked for my wife. They asked for my kids. They asked for my grandkids." They said, so that was.
Did he say that?
Wes's. Yeah, he did.
That's interesting.
He went to the
Well,
hide
also,
your kids, hide your wife, Danny Ainge is coming.
Also, let's remember, Celtics fan over here. Danny Ainge in trades?
Yeah, we know. We know. It's a thing. It's a thing. He will not stop unless he feels that he is getting a no doubt. He's not the kind who's like, okay, that's fair. We'll go for that. He wants.
When he's presented the best offer of anybody. Let's not run down the list of people that Boston could have got.
Everyone. They could have gotten a lot of guys. They almost traded 4 first-round draft picks for Justice Winslow, though.
Can you explain that?
Here's the in the short term. Not hating it.
I thought Justice Winslow was going to be really good.
I thought he was too, but in that system he would have been fine. the fact that they almost got Jimmy Butler and maybe should have got Jimmy Butler,
And Paul George.
and
Kawhi
if you
Leonard.
get Jimmy Butler in
Anthony
2020,
Davis.
you win it all, and that's why
Yeah,
like that
probably.
Eastern Conference Finals, I'm just like,
Mad at Danny
God,
Ainge.
this is pain.
Yeah. Danny Ainge does not do trades that unless he is getting the world end as Worldwide West.
There are multiple stages. There are multiple stages of the. If there are any Jazz fans listening, listen up. There are multiple stages in the Danny Ainge trade cycle. Anger, acceptance. Actually, anger, grief, acceptance.
I think so. I forget who wrote a blog about and listed all of the possible deals. This was before Ainge. This was right when they moved Stevens.
They
up to the front
transitioned out.
office. Yeah. I forget. It may have been the writer.
I forgot who wrote it too, but I remember my friends sending it to me, and I'm just like, you know what? No, I don't know.
May have been Roger Sherman at the Ringer, is what my memory
Yeah,
is.
that sounds like a Ringer type piece.
Yeah. Jamie, can you pull that up? Okay. So that's where the Knicks are. The concern I have for the Knicks now is that they do have. I really, really want Julius Randle off this roster, and it's sad because Julius Randle in 2021 was a lot of fun to root for, and he was very good that year. And then he had the expected regression in his shooting. Okay, the shooting fell off, but what also fell off was his defense and his general attitude on the court. He gave the fans the finger at one point during the season.
I was gonna say, like, there's this weird, we love you, and then he struggled a few games, and then it just got really ugly.
I think they have to expend some of that precious draft capital, like maybe one of those protected firsts that Danny Ainge didn't give a hoot about, to get him off the roster. I would say the two best possible destinations for him are one, Charlotte, which might need a replacement for a certain player who still hasn't been signed because of off-court difficulties. You could get him for Gordon Hayward, or as his friends call him, for Chandler Parsons. And we're remembering that nickname.
Yes.
Remembering that nickname.
Oh my goodness.
Did you guys see the shot during the Thursday night opening NFL game?
No, Bob. What the hell?
What are we talking about?
We're talking about the guy in the custom Rams jersey.
Oh
No.
yeah, January 6th jersey. Yeah.
Yeah,
Did
the
he
guy.
really?
There's a guy on the
Yeah.
sideline that has a Rams home jersey.
I thought he was.
Number,
I thought he was walking on the street.
Maybe
But
he
he
was on the
actually got
street.
on the side. I thought he was on the street, but
I don't know where the photo was taken. There's a photo taken of a Rams fan in a custom jersey with the number 6 and the last name January.
That's wild.
that is. But see, here's the thing, man. There are certain people in this country who can get away with it.
I was like, yeah.
Because ain't no brother rocking
No.
that jersey.
No.
Look on Chase's face.
It's hilarious. I played a fantasy football league with a bunch of people who report on extremism in various points. We have some my team is named LBs of TikTok, is the name of my fantasy football team, by the way. There's another team in the league called Mean Joe Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So yes, I play, not to out the other members of the league, but we play in that, and we made our new league logo that guy in the January 6th
as you
Rams
should,
jersey.
as you
Yes,
should. No,
that
my
is
team,
the new.
my team is the Frank Reynolds Daycare because I'm going with the mindset of either I'm winning the league or I'm going to completely wreck it because I can't win the league.
I'm also in a fantasy basketball league with another bunch of reporters, and usually I do something incredibly pretentious like name the team after the high school infinite jest. But this year, we're going with a new team. A couple of years I was named Wojak Horseman. But this year we're going with Critical Pace and Space Theory is going to be the name of my fantasy basketball team. So,
well done.
fantasy puns aside, I don't know how we got here.
You're welcome.
Right, possible Julius Randle trades.
There's no trades. Like, he has to just play better.
Phoenix.
Like, you're not moving anything.
Phoenix.
For who, Ayton?
No. You're trading him for Crowder and...
They're not adding him to the locker room. There's no way Phoenix is bringing him in.
Crowder and Saric. That's what you're trading him for.
And
you are
first.
giving and a protected first.
I don't know.
To me, in Phoenix, it makes sense.
Why? Do you really want a backcourt, a more mercurial personality backcourt of Ayton and Julius Randle?
Front court?
It's the front court.
Yeah, excuse me.
I was like, what?
Sorry. Hey, it's still early. I've had to have a cup of coffee.
Yes, because you are maximizing your window to win while Chris Paul is still in the...
Is that maximizing your window with Julius Randle, DeAndre Ayton?
Is that window actually open?
Ooh, that's a good
Julius Randle can... Look, no one thinks Julius Randle's going to shoot 40% from 3 again, but if you can get him to be a good teammate, he is a good basketball player. If you can fix the attitude problems that plagued him last year, he is legitimately a better player than Jay Crowder or injured Dario Saric.
So you're kind of banking on atmosphere, locker room, and fresh start. Okay, which makes sense.
I'm not sure the Phoenix atmosphere locker room was like the ideal. It's not like you're sending him to a Miami boot camp to play.
No. I'm talking about in terms of leaders in the locker room, and then you have a head coach
and you have a
GM,
and you have a clear pecking order, which is going to be Booker, like Paul, and then everyone else gets theirs, so that you're limiting his options. I'm saying
I think the pecking order is messed up right now, though. I think that's part of the reason Ayton's upset. Like, I don't think Ayton wants to be the rim running guy that got him to the finals. So you have this weird pecking order anyway.
He did resign, so he
didn't want to resign. I mean, he was going.
But he did.
I mean, that's a money thing, not a. That was a money situation.
I was going to say, is that the market basically kind of sort of being manipulated at that point?
I mean,
can we blame Rudy Gobert? Because I would like to press the blame Rudy Gobert button. Because I feel like everything this summer is kind of sort of his fault. Doesn't that remind you of something that happened in 2020, which was like 5 million years ago? Where somebody, decided to F around and find out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
In any case, those are the only possible teams I could see trading for Julius Randle.
I just don't see it happening until the trade deadline, the earliest. I think
it might not. I mean, the real nadir for Julius last year was after he flipped the fans the bird and after there were all these reports about him being miserable. There was a game against the Bulls in which they had they pulled off a very good comeback. It was led by R.J. Barrett and Emmanuel quickly down the stretch, and they won. Hooray. And as the buzzer sounded, Julius Randle sort of flipped the ball to the side and literally did the Michael Cera walking away with the Charlie Brown theme after they won. It was very bad. It was very, very, very there were significant issues with how Julius thought he should be playing in that offense. And look, I think there's a midpoint between where Julius was when he was second team All NBA and where he was last year, where he was legitimately a detriment to the team, and where he can still be a very useful basketball player, even if he's not going to shoot below 30% from 3 again, even if he gets to being a league average 3-point shooter. I think there are ways for him to be a good player. I just particularly enjoy watching Obi Toppin so much more, and think he makes people on the court better and plays with joy and enthusiasm. And he's like the only 6'10" dude who is legitimately sprinting down the court after made baskets.
He
and
get
just beating
a strong
teams
Ronaldo
everywhere.
Balkman vibes from Obi Toppin.
Except if
Oh.
Ronaldo Balkman were 6'10" and a slam dunk champion, okay, maybe, and he shot really well, like towards
Jared
the last 10
Jeffries,
games,
maybe?
too.
No.
No.
Chase, go into the corner.
Yeah, go away.
God.
Go away.
Chris
go away.
Wilcox?
No, don't just name some Knicks guys. That doesn't count. Like the comp that I didn't really believe because he was an older rookie coming out and never really had the shot or let alone the defensive ability. Like the best comp coming out of college I heard is people were comparing him to Sean Marion, and I don't think they're the same type
Who,
of
Obi
player at
Toppin?
all. Yeah. They're not the same
Yeah.
guy, but I think he could be, like, in an up-tempo offense, he could be a very valuable player. So I want to watch Obi Toppin play. I like Obi Toppin. So that's why
Well, can we? But the last thing on the Knicks, I have their depth chart over the
Finally.
years in front of me.
Finally.
Also,
I
I
think
didn't-
people need to understand just how.
I was on the Round Ball Rock podcast, which is a fine
Yep.
basketball podcast, and we played a game called Let's Remember Some Knicks Guys Who Weren't Signed to an Extension After They Became a First-Round Draft Pick. And the contest was, we're going to go year by year. Bob, without the help of a basketball reference page pulled up or anything, name the guys that they drafted. I think I missed one or two. I remembered the immortal Donnell Harvey.
Oh my God.
I remembered Mike Sweetney. I remembered a lot of Knicks guys.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I have that
Well-
information stored in my cerebral.
Here's the sad
Oh,
part for
Mike
the Knicks fans,
Sweetney,
where it's
God.
like you look
Mike
at
Sweetney. Mike Sweetney. In the mid-2000s, when you could get away with a 6'8" power forward who weighed 250 pounds. If he could rebound.
Man. And just a body. He was just
In
a
the-
body.
I mean, you
Now
went from
coaching,
Mike
by
Sweetney
the
though
way,
to David Lee,
now,
right?
by the way, David Lee was drafted first. Sweetney was 2003. That was the LeBron.
What was Lee?
draft.
4 or 5? I thought he was 2004 or 5.
2005. He was drafted
Okay.
with the 31st pick. That was the year that they also drafted Channing Frye at 8.
Nate Robinson
out of-
too, right?
Nate Robinson was acquired in a trade with Phoenix when they took on the salary of Quentin Richards.
I love this. Bob is ready to go.
I am.
Meet the Knicks with Bob Silverman.
I am beautiful minding my knowledge of awful New York Knicks transactions. That was a good draft for them.
Well, hold on. Let's do this real quick then. The starting backcourt in 2008-9 for the Knicks.
Alright.
Point guards.
That was the year of the immortal Chris Duhon.
Duhon and Nate
They signed
Robinson.
Chris Duhon. Chris Duhon. Nate Robinson also played a lot of minutes. At one point, they ended up trading for Larry Hughes that year, and he got a lot of starting minutes.
Katino
Who
Mobley
else
was on that team.
Katino Mobley came in the second time they traded for Tim Thomas, which was Zach Randolph for Tim Thomas and Cat Mobley. Next year was when Tracy McGrady was brought back for a hot minute, or it may have been that year. It was one of those 2 years.
It was the next year. And then you had Eddie House, Sergio Rodriguez, who were all waiting
Sergio
on.
Rodriguez. That was a trade with Boston, which they traded Nate Robinson for Boston. Marbury was still technically on the team that year, but those were the years when Mike D'Antoni refused to play him, and so he went on Ustream and recorded himself live for 24 hours in a row
Yes.
and ate Vaseline.
Yeah, that was a time.
Stephon Marbury was an innovator, both in terms of
Content.
designing his own shoe,
Mm-hmm.
playing in China, and content creation.
I was gonna say,
That's
oh
incredible.
my god. Oh,
I just
man.
you go through it.
Stephon Marbury had 2 legitimately excellent years with that team. He was
I think the
really
Knicks are
good.
just gonna wait, and they're just gonna look at the Pelicans. They're just gonna be like, we know where you can go.
No.
Brandon
no.
Ingram, Zion, we're waiting around. We're gonna see
No,
you
Zion just signed the extension. He's not going anywhere.
soon.
Also,
I'm
what-
saying not right now.
does
It's just gonna
Brandon-
take a year.
Does Brandon Ingram actually move the needle for this?
I think he makes more sense for the Knicks.
He makes more sense than Donovan Mitchell does.
He does, but at the same
But
time,
they're not
like,
trading. Like, why would the Pelicans, by the way, who could if they wanted to get Kevin Durant, they could offer a very tidy package for him.
I
I'm not
agree.
Sure they're not trading that to get like R.J. Barrett and a lot of picks. They're building around Ingram and like Zion.
Well, we've seen in the NBA, like Zion still doesn't want to be there. He took the money, but like he still does not want to be in New Orleans. But like,
I think if he really didn't want to be in New Orleans, like Donovan Mitchell, he wouldn't be in New Orleans.
I don't know. I think people told him like, take that money now, and we'll get you out later.
He wants to be there. I think he just wants to get on. He wants to get on the damn court.
Yeah, I don't
that's
know
the
if I believe that either.
As far as you want to know who people in Knicks land,
whomst do they want?
Whomst they're talking about now that the previous apple of their eye, Donovan Mitchell, is gone. There's still a belief that if things go kablooey in Phoenix, they could maybe get Devin Booker back. If Phoenix implodes and they decide to blow it up, they would look at Devin Booker. The other person was, which I don't believe, but if things are, now that they've lost Chet Holmgren, which it's been a while since we podcasted, boys, and I am very sad that we're not going to get to see the real Finn Reaper for the whole year. He was so fun. Watching him play was fun. Admit it, both of you. You enjoyed watching Chet Holmgren highlights this summer. Admit it. We're not moving on until you both admit it.
I enjoyed the highlights. Sure.
That's right. You, Andrew Hammond. All right. There is some belief that if
SGA?
Yeah, SGA. If Oklahoma still has another bad year and SGA doesn't want to, like, he is already signed. You are looking at, with Holmgren, it was probably time to step on the gas a little bit there. But without him, it's another year of Tankapalooza. So, and Rob Presti's never-ending pile of first-round future picks. So maybe SGA wants out. So those are the two guys that they're talking about.
SGA would be fun.
And again, SGA and Devin Booker, either one would be.
SGA and Brunson versus Trey and DeJounte in the play-in? Let's go.
I think both of them. I'm also not as big a Donovan Mitchell fan as some are. I think both SGA and Booker are clearly better than Donovan Mitchell. Fit notwithstanding.
Bing
so
bong.
There you have it.
Yeah.
That's our Knicks minute, which lasted 8 years, I think.
The NBA in-season tournament is happening.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's yours, Hammond. You got this.
Yes. The NBA in-season tournament.
Hold on. I need to find a train track so I can just, like, stand in front of it.
Are you annoyed at the discourse, or are you annoyed at the existence of this tournament? What are you most... Where are you at with this tournament?
Where are you most mad online? What makes you most mad?
I do not... I get why you do it, wildly gesturing at the television that is to the right of me. The problem is, why? I get why, but I just want to know.
You just said why, and you know
why. I know why. I hate it.
Ours is not to question why.
It's... If you were to include the G League teams, if you were to include
get Barcelona
a Euro League team, like if you're gonna make this interesting and fascinating, you have the capability to do it, because you look at international soccer, you look at club soccer. They bring in, for international stuff, guys take time off. They go to their domestic club or they go to their national team. You could do something like that with the actual, with the European teams. You could get those guys, because they play in the offseason. What I'm trying to say is they play in their offseasons.
Are you paying to see a game between the San Antonio Spurs and Mega Lex? Is that a real exciting thing for you?
No, but what I'm saying is, if you're going to do this tournament, actually put some punch behind it. This just feels like extra games, yay, and a mid-season trophy.
See, I don't even think it's the games.
Yay.
I think they want to curb the players not trying in the regular season. I think this is just more.
So then cut it to do what I've been saying for years. Cut it to 60 games.
I mean, that's the
Thank
right
you.
answer. That is the right answer, but they're not going to do that. So they're going to let's just incentivize the 82 games regular season more and make them some money, extra money, and
it's still a big steaming pile of.
I think the problem with Silver, who is a big Premier League guy and loves European soccer and wants to build the NBA into some kind of rival of that, is that this has already been entrenched in European soccer. Like, this is something that is just a part of it.
You're talking about, I don't know how long that football has been going on over there, but it appears to be like 100 years.
100-something years.
Exactly. Like, it's just that kind of time, and they also have relegation, so unless Silver plans on adding relegation to this mix, where it's like you have to perform well, or you have to win some of these tournaments, or you slide out of the NBA, and then we put a team in Seattle because you were incompetent for too long. Like, it's not the same. Like, you're trying to recreate a model that I just don't think American fans are conditioned to and don't really want. Like, it's just going to be a lot of years of NBA fans being like, this is dumb, I don't care about this, and it's going to confuse the product more. Like, people are going to be very confused what's going on with these games and like why their team is doing this and what's actually happening.
There's no structure to it.
Yeah.
I mean, not structure, but there is no. It's not even the fans aren't conditioned to it. They just don't care.
Yeah.
There's a swath of European soccer fans and NBA fans. Like, it's a nice healthy number. But your average sports fan who's just like, what the hell is this?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's going to be more of that, whether it be the vocal minority or just people just being, mad online to be mad online. It doesn't do anything for me, honestly, because you've built this up for so long, this concept up, because this isn't just this isn't a post 2020 idea. They've been talking about this for about 6-7 years, and now that it's more than likely gonna hit, you're just like, oh, you've done all of that, and this is what you're giving me.
The thing is,
I'm sorry, infield pop fly.
They don't look. I think the thing you are, not forgetting, but the thing you're leaving out is that, like, it's just about TV money, and TV
absolutely,
and live sports remains the only, like, yes, cables are being cut, yes, viewership is going down in every single sports. The NBA is suffering a more precipitous decline than a lot of cable options, but still, when that TV contract comes due in 2024, they're still going to, I think the term you kids use is get that bag. And,
absolutely.
And this equals more bag, so that's why they're doing it. That's the only reason why. I think the NBA, yes, would like to eliminate the number of load management days that teams exercise, and I think as a person who likes watching basketball, I would prefer if there were fewer of those instances too, but I don't think this, I really think it's just, I think the prime motivator is you are offering their future national broadcast partners, whether that's a cable company, a network, your Apples, your Paramounts now, anyone else who's, your Amazon, whoever else is going to jump in, you're offering them live programming that still will drive consumers to watch in the moment and watch therefore commercials in that moment. So that's, to me, all this is about. It's when you boil it down to the nuts and bolts, like accounting, it's not very fun. But I think don't think you can go to like Adam Silver's office and make a reasoned case why fans won't tune in. It doesn't matter. It's a thing on TV that attracts enough of an audience to be very valuable. This was something someone said to me years ago when I was doing a story about the Knicks. They were like, you have to, the way to understand, I was like, explain to me, a moron, how the Knicks are still the most valuable team despite being but for 20 years. And he says it's a couple of things. It's playing in the biggest media market in the country, and it's owning their arena in the biggest media market in the country, and it's owning their own in-house cable channel in the biggest media market in the country. And he says, like, MSG, like, the Knicks and Rangers exist so the MSG network has live programming. Like, what the actual, like, content of that programming is kind of irrelevant. Now, he was saying this, 7 years ago when there were a lot more cable subscribers, and that was even more valuable. But the still remains the thing. The Knicks, by the way, there are reports that when some certain financial transactions are completed in a couple of years, Dolan is going to carve the Knicks and Rangers off from the rest of MSG, the MSG Sports and Entertainment division, off from the actual venue and broadcast parts of it, and sell the team. And he's going to get $8 billion for them.
Oh, absolutely.
That will be the most valuable sports franchise sale in history. He's going to get $8 billion. And I'm looking forward to the day when Elon Musk owns the Knicks. I think it's going to be awesome. I can't see any downsides to it.
That actually sounds more painful voicing it than visually it happening.
I just want to see one pasty South African, like, sitting on the sideline being like, and in his disaffected voice talking about, like, we felt that we did not have to extend Leon Rowe's contract. So that's my Elon Musk imitation. It kind of sounds like Michael Myers doing Dieter from Sprockets. So, but your mileage may vary on my Elon imitation. So yeah, they're like $8 billion to sell the Knicks because of those assets and the fact that they lose basketball games does not matter. They are content. The Knicks are content, and that's what makes them valuable. And they're a particular kind of content.
Yeah, that's why when people look at, Notre Dame doesn't have value, or the Big Ten doesn't have value, it's like, buddy.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
That's the thing. Like, and the funny thing is that people look at, like the whole SEC CBS deal. Now they're with the Big Ten. It's like, guys, they aren't paying to put Rutgers and Purdue in that 2:30 slot on CBS. They aren't paying for that. So, like, with MSG,
they are, but the fact that it's Rutgers and not,
it's like you aren't getting
Michigan
that
every Sunday. That are like whether it doesn't matter whether it's Alabama and Michigan or Rutgers and like Purdue.
It's content.
They are content.
It is.
And it is the great equalizer.
Yeah, and that's why content is
the fact that like those games are bad.
Nobody cares. Like we'll make fun of it, but at the same time, you know what's happening with CBS and Viacom and all these.
It's
raking in money.
Yeah, and it is earning money hand over fist.
Last topic before we wrap up here on Sports Reporters. We have one more, Bob. I promise. But
is it a Knicks thing? Are we gonna dunk on the Jets now?
Joe Flacco.
Is that what's happening?
No. MLB rule changes.
By the way, just so we switch to LBs of TikTok, my fantasy team. I picked a couple of lines this year, Andrew Hammond.
Okay, attaboy. Who'd you pick up?
It wasn't my plan to go 2 Lions, but I did get. There was a run on tight ends in my league, so I had.
So you got Hawk.
I got Hawk. I got Hawk in the 8th round, and then in the 9th round, he was still on the board, and I had him as pegged as like a 6th, 7th pick, and so I felt I had to do it. I got Amon-Ra St. Brown also.
Okay, good job. No,
They're
that's no
both-
like the Lions should be. See, my strategy for fantasy this year was
See how I pivoted away from the Jets to the
who
Did you see
is
that?
who is going to play meaningful football deep into the season. Like that's
Yeah,
what I
they
had
could.
to basically.
Who
They
could?
could be fun. They could be fun
Who?
and spunky.
No,
Whomst?
what I'm saying is that in terms of like, if I'm going for my top 4 or 5 in the first 4 rounds or so, first 4 rounds, and in terms of quarterback, are you going to be playing meaningful football into December, into January? Then yeah, you're probably going to be on the list. But at the same time, you do need those complementary guys that are going to give you a consistent 6 to, depending on your league and points, a 6 to, even 7 to 12 point week.
I missed out on I was for tight ends. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for one of the I'm fine with Hawkinson or Freiermuth or maybe Ertz, unless Pitts falls to me in the 3rd round. He didn't, and I was like, okay, I'm waiting. And so that and then Freiermuth went off the board before Hawkinson, which I thought was odd, and Ertz was gone also, and I was like, it's either him or thinking about Mike Gesicki, and so I said, DJ time. So I'm happy with my Lions. I have Cooper Kupp. I got Cooper Kupp in the first. He did nicely, although Matt Stafford's arm was kind of Chad Pennington-y, and that's a little worrisome.
I picked up Cooper Kupp. This is my first year picking him up in a draft. I get why fantasy nerds love this guy.
Yeah, man. It's a half-point PPR, so that was a solid night for him.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like LBs of TikTok are going to do some damage this year.
Attaboy.
As far as the Jets go, yeah, it's elite Joe Flacco time, at least until week 4. The guy Dwayne Brown, who they signed off the street to replace the injured Mekhi Becton, also is suffering is missing at least week 1, and they're talking about putting him on the IR. And when you're talking about a 37-year-old left tackle, that's probably not good. So their offensive line may be crab meat already. So that's a little worrisome.
Did they say they were moving him off offensive tackle? Was that what I saw this week?
No.
With the injuries that they were moving, there was something they said was weird about
Becton. The thing that was weird. Becton. They're confident that he'll make a full recovery to football activities next year. But they signed Dwayne Brown formerly with the Seahawks and the Texans before that as a older replacement at left tackle, and they moved last year's left tackle George Fant to right tackle. Fant was the right tackle 2 years ago during Becton's rookie year. Last year he outplayed Becton and moved back to left tackle when Becton got hurt in the first game. This year they switched. They were like, okay, we're going to keep you at left tackle, and Becton's going to move over to right tackle. Becton got hurt in the preseason again. They signed Dwayne Brown, who's played left tackle his whole career, and we're like, okay, we're moving you back to right tackle. And now you're the starting right tackle, and Dwayne Brown is at left tackle. Now that Dwayne Brown is hurt, and they're talking IR, and who knows how long he's going to be out, they have now moved George Fant back to left tackle, and they are starting a rookie they drafted in the 4th round out of Utah on the right side.
Speaking
Not
of,
ideal. Max Mitchell.
we just picked
for
up
all
another
you
Jet
Utah
offensive
Utes
tackle.
fans. Shuma Udoga?
Yes.
Shuma Udoga.
Is he good?
No.
Oh. No?
No.
Oh, well. He's a
Sorry,
swing tackle
no.
for us now, Bob.
Well,
Am I crazy, or
congratulations.
didn't you have Jermaine Ifedi at some point, or no?
Yes.
You did have him.
Yes.
So we're just accumulating all the ex-Jets offensive linemen to be the.
It's not the best
not-
strategy for team building. The guy's not
No.
good enough to be a Jet.
But the Major League Baseball made a move that upset a lot of baseball fans. This
We're
week.
deep into the rules. We're talking about the rules this week, folks.
I have a take. I don't care how old this makes me sound. This is good.
Sure.
The pitch clock stuff's good. The banning of the shift is good. Folks, let me tell you, baseball where players have to just defend, and baseball where it looks fun for the casual fan and not have to look at 3 players on one. Yes, and I understand the strategy. You know what else is cool? Closers and their music. Closers are cool. You know what else is cool? Starting pitchers who are good and go 6 or 7 innings. Those are all really cool things that were actually good. Nobody wants the opener.
7 innings, yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. It's a fun thing.
Here's the thing. I kind of, sort of like the opener.
Oh, no.
It's fine.
I can't do it.
It's fine. Are they regulating? Wait. Are they regulating the opener too?
No, that's the next thing on my agenda, as MLBs are. Openers out.
How
No opener.
Can you legislate that into existence?
You can. You have to start a starter. He has to.
What does that mean?
Thank you. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
So then, what if the starter gets hurt? He can't leave the game. The starter has to prove.
No,
that
he
he's
can
You have
leave.
to pitch with you. You got Tommy. You need Tommy John surgery, right? Yeah. Go out and pitch.
Here's what we'll do.
You cannot
The
mandate that
team
the
can
starter
text me. They can text me and be like, we're starting Sergio Romo. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're throwing Russ Ortiz out there. You're not starting Sergio Romo. No.
Wow, we're remembering some San Francisco Giants.
Wow.
Hey guys, you remember Brian Wilson's beard? That was fun.
Remember that?
Remember that? It was big. Remember?
Fernando Rodney, not so fast, my friend. We're throwing Jeff Francis out there. Can't do it.
No, I mean I don't have a
Tampa Bay
problem. Like
Rays slander.
if you're going to designate a quote unquote opener,
Yeah.
then have him go 3 innings. 3 innings minimum.
I think openers are fine.
I think openers
Can't do
are
it.
fine
Openers
too.
out.
What?
Sports are. They're out. Can't do it. We got to do
Nerd.
starters only. Starters are good.
Nerd.
Guys, I
Yeah.
don't like the opener. I mean, get it out of there. Just get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's my best Bill Simmons. It's not very. It's up there with my Elon Musk. It's not.
Well,
very
so so Bill Simmons complained about the opener, and the Red Sox were playing the Blue Jays in a wild card, and the opener does the job, strikes out the side. The Red Sox end up winning the wild card. He's gonna say, "Opener's the greatest thing of all time."
It's okay.
See, I would
Thoughts?
rather lose with an opener than win with an opener.
Is the
Also,
opener
the
having
Milwaukee
a moment?
Brewers.
Yeah. No, you know who actually? What is that account? He does a really good one. I don't know if he's done him recently. Who does the Bill Simmons fake ad reads? That account was top notch.
I don't pay attention.
Yeah,
If
I
I
don't
can
pay
find
attention
it,
to anything Bill Simmons adjacent, even if parody.
He's funny. I forgot his
attention to
name
podcasts.
though on Twitter, but he's a good follow. Tweet at us, Chase Thomas podcast at gmail.com.
We'll have
Let
you
us
on
know.
the show to do some Rich Little type imitations.
Yeah.
Of the show. Let's see if we can get James Austin Johnson. Saturday Night Live hasn't started up yet. See if he's available.
There you go. Andrew Hammond, you have a new podcast.
Yeah. It is Road to the Victors, the story of the 1997 Michigan Wolverines. We've had our first episode drop, and it comes out every Monday. It's a limited series podcast, so be sure to like, share, subscribe if you guys get a chance to listen.
Wherever you listen to your podcast.
With the
There you
Freep.
go.
I
Yes.
like it.
Yes.
I like
Not
it.
sure if you guys have had a chance to listen, but
I
if
listened
you
to the
have-
first one.
Okay, good. So yeah, we've got the season opener of the 1997 season against Colorado coming up this Monday. So we will talk about that.
There you go. Go subscribe, support Andrew and the good folks over there at the Detroit Free Press. Bobby, you had a big piece. I love when Bob
story.
posts something because his quote tweets and retweets and favorites are just preposterous. I'll see it. Bob will his next story at Daily Beast. It'll be like 1,600 retweets, 9,000 likes, and then back to
gets
Bob
back
is
up.
tweeting about other stuff.
Yeah. It gets. I wrote another story about.
They're always bangers, man.
Thanks, man.
You go
I wrote a story
viral
about
every time.
YouTuber Tim Pool, and this is a right wing YouTuber. He makes he makes millions of dollars a year, basically just promoting all kinds of extremists, and it's a very profitable enterprise for him. But he also built himself a news website, And I found a whole bunch of plagiarism on the website. So that's what the story's about. And plagiarism, of course, is a pretty bad thing in journalism, generally speaking. But the funny part about this is, like, one of the biggest parts of Poole's belief system is that it's not just that the mainstream that they hate mainstream sources, like most conservatives. He will say that, like, he says oftenly that the mainstream media hates you and thinks you're stupid, and that they lie, they cheat, and they steal all the time. And so, of course, the funny part is that his website plagiarized from CNN, Forbes, The Washington Post, Newsweek, CNBC, those are mainstream. He plagiarized from the very same mainstream sources he says is going to, like, come up to your door and kill your grandmother. So
can real quick,
yeah.
Bob, and I'm not trying to be political here, but I do love the fact that people who complain about the quote-unquote mainstream media always seem to gravitate towards complaining about, what is that? The mainstream media. Yeah, but it's also kind of filtered into sports a bit, where it's like, oh, I don't want to pay attention, and I hate these certain outlets, blah, blah, blah. Like, you may have beef with those outlets, but if you have beef with them, then stop pushing their product every 5 minutes saying that you hate them.
I think the point, the sort of like the reason why I wrote this story, and I think this will speak to what you're talking about, Andrew, it's not because, yes, him running a website, which, by the way, there's a point where he thinks it's going to take over, like, the media universe, and I think at one point he made a comparison to himself as Thanos and snapping away the bad entities he hates with the gauntlet and things like that. That is all true and newsworthy and very funny, in my humble opinion. But, like, the reason why I think this is important is because speaking of content being king, one of the more functional business models right now is the influencer model, and there are plenty of venues in which I think influencer-led media is entirely fine. Like, it's not really a bad thing that, look, I'm not a TikTok reporter and I don't understand it, but if you're doing, like, TikTok and you're going viral for, I don't know, beauty tips or celebrity gossip, things like that, that's probably fine. I'm sure I'll regret that. I'm sure in ways that is equally problematic. But, like, treating news as a kind of thing in which you express a parasocial affinity to your favorite news influencer leads to all kinds of very bad outcomes in terms of a population that understands what the heck is going on. Because influencers create fandoms. And as we all know from liking sports, fandoms don't behave rationally. They're territorial, they're tribal, and when they attack en masse, they can in fact get really violent. And when we treat understanding what's happening in the news the same way, like, I get mad about the Knicks' inability to trade for Donovan Mitchell. I'm not saying that I am. No one believes that. But when I, like, using that same behavioral archetype is very, very bad long term for whatever you want to call, like, the future of this country. And that's the model that Poole is propagating. And I think there are a lot of other places that do that too. And it's not necessarily just, oh, here's this guy, here's this Trump voter who believes this. It's on the left as well. It is an apolitical problem. I would say it's less of a problem on whatever you want to call the left, but that's that's neither here nor there. So that's why I want to report it, because I think, like, treating news as something in which you use to define yourself as part of it, is your identity, as a part of your like a collective identity you ascribe to, I think is honestly terrifying. So that's why I reported out this story. So that's the thing you're talking about. And it's like, look, if you want to do that with like getting mad because you think, I don't know, I'm picking a name out of hat. Like you think that like CBS Sports' fantasy coverage is biased against your team. Okay,
It probably is because you suck.
Yeah, you can think that. I just don't think there are a lot of negative long-term impacts to behaving in that way.
Right.
But when it's like everywhere and everything is like, when you treat the news the way that like Beyonce stans react to bad news about the Queen, then we're in a very, 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 very scary place.
Stan culture is so just...
Right. And it's everywhere. It is everywhere. Everything becomes Stan culture. It is how we elect a president now. We elect a president through Stan culture.
Through popular vote.
Yeah. Well, not just popular vote, but the idea that like that people outside of your circle are the enemy and must be destroyed entirely and represent a potential threat to your existence.
And when they do, it's actually bad. But that's
right.
That's
and when those threats happen, it cannot be. When there are legitimate violent threats percolating, no one can say, actually, hold on, wait a second, this is beyond the pale, because you're operating the same way the Bayhive does.
Mm.
That's our depressing thought for today.
Well, hopefully it does not continue that way. And
Yes.
The Tennessee
Yeah,
Volunteers
it will.
beat the living crap out of those Pitt Panthers at 3:30 Eastern time. This will be going up after that game. So Clairvoyant Chase, Tennessee 45, Pitt 24. I think they beat the...
Can I still get in a wager on that? I think I should get into
No.
actual gambling this year. That's advice I haven't tried before.
There you go.
Why not?
Okay, so real quick before we wrap this up, is it me, or are we headed towards I don't have a good feeling about the sports betting culture in this country.
Not call me an institutionalist, but there was a reason why every single pro and college sport made sure that gambling was kept not just at arm's length, but entirely out of their sphere, let alone in partnership.
I love that Andrew ended with, like, by the way, like, not to, like, just to wrap up, let's
There's
do a whole
a
nother
story-
pod on gambling
I
and sports.
know, but I'm just, it's just so, it's...
I'll recommend a story. There's a story by Maxwell Strahan Advice that you want to read about people who unfortunately are spending too much time in front of screens and now can gamble at the smosh of a button. And
Calvin
it's
Ridley suspended for a whole year for, like, logging onto his phone and
right.
just...
It's really bad.
Yeah.
It is like gambling has always been a vector for transferring money from the have-nots to the haves, and it always will be. So making that easier and having it rubber stamped by pro sports, yeah, bad. That's going to be bad.
There's just going to be a gigantic scandal in the next couple of years. Like, that's where we're... Like, something's going to break.
I want a good old-fashioned gambling scandal. I want match fixing.
It's coming.
That's
like, there's
what I
just
want.
no way around it. Like, it's
I
gonna-
want
sitting
a rigged game.
And I'm
That's what I
sitting
want.
here, and I feel like the scientist at the beginning of a science fiction movie that's like, "Hey guys, I don't think we should be doing this." Everybody's like, "No, it's fine." I get exiled in like 5 years. I'm gonna grow a beard, looking like Brett Spiner in Independence Day, going, "See, I told you this is happening."
Trained mind, Brett Spiner went to the Marcel Marceau School.
Of course he
I
did.
believe. Trained mind.
And it all ties back together.
There you go. For that guy up there in Detroit, Michigan, Andrew Hammond. For that guy up there in New York City, Bobby Silverman. For myself, down here in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Like
That
the
is
Brady
all the
Bunch.
sports reporters have got. Leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Goodbye.
Dun, 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 dun.